Man, it is getting scandalous right now on how to get away with murder. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is How to Get Away with Murder, Season 5, Episode 12. And the name of this episode is We Know Everything. And yes, they know everything, but then not only that, there are other people who are beginning to put pieces together. And I'm going to get to that. So, the episode opens up, we find out why Gabriel was arrested, because that was where it left off on the last episode. And, Annalise pretty much goes down there, to act as his legal counsel. And she's like, they arrested you for a reason. And he was like, I don't know why they arrested me. And then she was like, how do I know I can believe you? I mean, after all, you were talking to Miller, But he was saying that, me and Miller actually didn't start, collaborating with each other until after I joined your class. And he had told me about Denver. And he, I'm also, wanted to get him. And he said the reason why I got involved was because I'm trying to find out what happened to my father. And I wanted information about my dad's case. So I started to work with him. And so she was like, oh, so you just blatantly tell me you lied to me the entire damn time. And then she was about to get up and was about to leave. He's like, please don't leave me. So he don't have nobody right now, and he's in jail. And at this moment, he doesn't even have no idea of why he's been arrested. So then we also see back at the house, Annalise is talking to the crew, and they're discussing Gabriel and his whole situation. And then we see that Annalise goes to talk to Bonnie and Nate. They discuss, Gabriel's and Miller's connection. And then, of course, Bonnie and Annalise was going back and forth or whatever. She was saying that because Bonnie was like, I don't believe this. And Annalise was like, well, of course you don't believe it. I mean, hey, the guy was your boyfriend, and how did that turn out? And then, damn, Bonnie flipped it on her, and she was like, yeah, and you trusted the governor, so how did that turn out? And and pretty much she told him that, because she can definitely tell that Bonnie is still grieving Miller, and also feeling that guilt, because she was the one who pretty much suffocated him and put him out of his misery after Nate nearly beat him to death. But then Annalise says that, look, you need to let him go, Bonnie. You're not doing yourself any good by doing this. And then Nate came up with the idea that, look, we can use Gabriel in this whole Miller / the governor type of situation, and like Annalise was like, well, you're gonna need proof of that. And he was like, yeah, I can work that out. I'll find a connection in which could actually work out in our favor, and we can actually take the governor down. So then we actually see that Tegan meets up with the FBI agent. Now, this is the same FBI agent that she went to when she decided to turn on Antares and got Laurel's father locked up. And pretty much the reason why she reached out to her was because she wanted to know what was going on with Miller. Like, all of a sudden this guy disappeared and nobody knows where he is. And all of a sudden when she went to go meet with the FBI lady, the FBI lady's like, so, are you talking about Annalise? And she was saying that, Annalise? I ain't got nothing. What do you mean, Annalise? This ain't about Annalise. I came to you because Miller, and I was afraid that maybe him disappearing has something to do with Laurel's father, that maybe he had got involved, and that's the reason why Miller's missing, But the FBI lady told her that, look, if you get any more information, give me a call. And, just like we protected you before, we're going to protect you now. So, pretty much their whole, operation has been done on the wraps and nobody knows about their connection. But that definitely changes, and I'm going to get to that. So then we see Gabriel and Annalise, finally get a court date to find out why he's in jail and, what's going on. And then, let me get this. So pretty much they go into court, and then we also see that the Keating crew is kind of, doing their thing, trying to trying to do the narrative. We come to find out that the reason why Gabriel got arrested was for domestic terrorism, that he did back in 2014 in St. Louis, where he had threw a chemical substance at the police. And they even had this picture of this guy in a mask throwing shit. And immediately Annalise is like, wow, so yo ass in here because of a terrorist act. And that he was actually, attacking police officers. But just from that sound of it alone, you can definitely tell that shit was a setup, because they literally dug years prior to get him in jail. And Annalise is starting to kind of put it together. They're trying to trap Gabriel so they can get him and use him and get all this information out of him, because the whole idea was that they know about his connection to Miller, so they feel if they lock him up, they'll get him to talk more. So then we see that Frank goes to see Nate. He can definitely tell that Nate really is still going through it and still feels guilty, and that's why he's doing all of this. He cannot let it go. As far as his whole thing about taking down the governor and all of that, he's just totally immersed in it to the point where it's starting to alarm Frank. And he was saying that, look, there is a place where after something like this happens, you can go and feel free, and you no longer feel guilty because you're doing all of this out of guilt. And he pretty much tells him that, just go on. And while he's there, he gets a call from Bonnie. And he pretty much kind of told Bonnie the same thing. He was saying that, look, you're losing it, and, I want to let you know, I got you, but you need to get past this. And he was somewhat saying the same thing to Nate, and Nate just told him to leave. But you can definitely tell, that's the one thing I was saying in the last episode, Bonnie and Nate are literally intertwined right now, because both of them are feeling the guilt that Miller's dead. But yet, he's still only been labeled as missing. So therefore, after that whole situation in the courtroom, Annalise and Gabriel talk, and he was saying that, so tell me, is this person not you? And she says, don't lie to me. And then by the fact that he didn't say anything, she immediately knew that the guy in the picture was him with the mask. He's saying, so you actually assaulted police officers and you don't know why you're in here? He was saying that, look, the reason why I did that was because they were pretty much throwing tear gas at us. So I was fighting back. But then she says that, look, so we saw that go down. So now she knows that, he's really in deep. The challenge now is, what can they do to get him off? So pretty much what Annalise does is that she goes to the crew. She pretty much says that, look, she pretty much gave them a list of Gabriel's passwords, looked through emails, anything, that would show terrorism. Let's go through everything so we can have an argument to fight in court. And then Michaela talks to Annalise, and this was after the court case. She talks to Annalise, and she was saying that, this whole thing with the wrongful death suit, don't you think it's gonna be bad that you're now getting us to lie to the FBI? And Annalise just kind of gave Michaela the look like, bitch, didn't nobody tell you to do this wrongful death suit? That was something you chose to do. But then she was like, oh, but don't worry, I'll take care of it. And Annalise kind of gave a look like, I bet your ass you will. Because nobody told your ass to do that shit. So then we see that Michaela goes to see Tegan. And she said, like, look, the reason why I lied to you was because the FBI was looking into Nate. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to, do this case and it blow up in our faces. Pretty much, Tegan was like, well, what about, Miller disappearing? What do you know about that? Well, he was saying that, well, he lost the inquest, and well, she's like, yeah, he had lost the inquest, and, he brought attention to himself, so obviously, something happened, but it didn't involve us. And she's like, I swear, I'm telling the truth. And then all of a sudden, Emmett come up in there talking about Annalise representing Gabriel Maddox, and she looked at Michaela again like, bitch, you still ain't telling the damn truth, and you still withholding information. So pretty much, the crew's all together doing their research. They find out that Gabriel had this alias called Ferguson, and that he's been texting somebody for the past 2 months. So then we see that Annalise and Laurel go to meet up with Gabriel. So they find out that the texting that going back and forth was about his mother, and he obviously was talking about this girl that he likes. So Laura was like, wow, you only met me, we only known each other for a few weeks, and you now telling your mother about me? And he corrected her, I wasn't telling my mother anything about you, Laurel. I was talking about Michaela. And he was like, and they were kind of like, who the hell tells their mother about a girl that they just started dating? And he was like, me, that's what I do. She likes to hear great things. So she says, okay. So Annalise calls his mother, and he was like, how'd you get her number? She says, don't worry about that, but get on the phone and talk to your mother. Prove to me that you're not lying to me. So then he calls and he tells his mother that, things are over between me and Michaela. I screwed up and all of that. And, don't give me that sad talk. I can't deal with that. It's all about happy, and, I want you to be happy. So let's talk about some good stuff. So we see him talking with his mother, and Annalise is kind of peeping like, this is interesting. And they also found out that, Vivian knew that he was going to see Annalise. So that was also confirmed. So then we see Bonnie talking to Miller's secretary. She talks about, didn't he have a friend at the governor's office? Do you know who it is? And she was like, no. But she says but Miller's mother keeps calling, and it's like she keeps calling every single day. So then, oh yeah, and I talked about how Frank was telling Nate about having self-control, and that once you get to that place, you won't be feeling so much guilt, because right now you're operating off of emotion. And so we saw that go down. Then we see that Bonnie goes to meet Miller's mother. She has tea with her. She says that I feel like they're not telling me the truth, But he said that Bonnie starts asking questions about the governor. Do you know about their relationship? He's like, well, nah. I don't know if I think they were friends, but then he came in here talking about how she was taking money, from opioid companies and shit. So I'm like, ooh, they got something on the governor right now. So he said that, he really didn't like her. But she's like, I miss him. And she also tells her that we had a fight before the wedding, and she was like, yeah, it's crazy because after that he came here to get my engagement ring, and he wanted to go and make things right. And she asked, did he propose to you? And she told him no, and she told her no. And he was saying that God didn't take my son away. He was not ready to leave this world, and I just lost my husband, And she's like, pretty much her and Bonnie have a moment, but little does she know Bonnie was the one who helped end Miller's life. So that scene was everything. So then we see that the FBI agent meets up with Gabriel, and she was saying that we'll give you full immunity if you start talking, and we'll get the charges dropped. And then she goes in like, look, D.A. Miller's missing. But he was like, so you mean to tell me you guys put some bogus charges on me to get me in here to talk about Miller? And she's like, oh no, they're not bogus. They stand, and they're gonna stick unless I give you immunity and you actually give me what I'm looking for. And of course they so pretty much she's saying that, so you're working for her now too. And he's like, what are you talking about? Talking about Annalise. And the FBI pretty much plays with him and tells him like, look, if you work with us and turn on her, we got you. And she was saying that, look, we know everything, cooperate or stay in jail. So yeah, it went to what they were saying, that they got Gabriel in there to get him to turn on Annalise, or so they can shut her down. So then we see that Tegan actually leaves a message on to the FBI agent. And then later on, we see that Emmett meets up with Annalise to ask about Gabriel Manners' case. He was saying that, look, we need to do a press conference. We can draw a lot of attention. She was like, no, that's going to make things worse. But he's saying that, look, you helped me in my whole situation with Nora. I need to return the favor. And she says that, well, don't have a press conference. That's the biggest favor you could ever do for me. So then we got a scene with Tegan, Michaela, and Oliver. Well, what actually happened was that it was the Keating crew with Annalise. They actually found an email that Tegan was sending to the FBI agent, so they got it, and pretty much she says that, look, and she was like, and like immediately Annalise is like, well, that's very suspicious. Why would you do that? But they said that, look, we can release it and it won't be traced back to us. And the next thing you know, when she actually goes to her email and see that private email was actually in the database, Tegan was shook. So now she is known as she's an informant. Her cover's blown. But she said about us doing that, she'll come to us for protection. So it's actually a win-win. So then we see Bonnie and Frank talk, and she talks about meeting with Miller's mom, and that she's hoping that things will get better. And then also Bonnie also talked about that she shares some information about the governor. So now another thing that they're also trying to do is to make sure that they're going through all of the wedding photos to make sure that there's not a photo showing Miller and Nate together, because even the FBI agent had asked Gabriel, did you see them together, and he said no. I mean, he knew Nate was there, but he never saw Miller at the wedding. Oh yeah, and while they were also doing this, Laurel pretty much tells, well, actually, Laurel told Asher, and Asher told Michaela that, that Gabriel had told his mom about her. And they're also looking at the spy cam. So he didn't break the spy cam. He had broke something else, last week. And he cut up one of his fake IDs. And then he pretty much let Annalise know the reason why he had a fake ID, was the fact that, if they pulled up his rap sheet, they was going to lock him up. So if he went by a fake ID, he could still be an activist and still do what he needed to do. But then we actually see that they're still watching, they still got the spy cam, and they're still watching Gabriel, from his apartment. So then, now remember I mentioned the spy cam because this now comes to play, in this next scene where they're at court, and Annalise calls, for them to dismiss the charges because, this is pretty much racism, because here it is, he's a black activist, but yet you guys are here making him out to be a terrorist. And it's like people forget that Black Lives Matter. He's actually an activist, but then you're saying that he's a terrorist, and we have proof that this is fabricated. And they actually show footage of Gabriel's apartment, and they show the FBI planting evidence in his apartment. And that damn Gabriel was mad as shit. He was like, what the hell is this? And then he looked back, and then Connor was like, you'll thank us later. Because due to the fact that they did that, it proved that he was being set up, and they were going to use him as a pawn to try to take down Annalise and the crew. But after that, so pretty much because Annalise was able to prove that he was set up, they end up dropping the case and drop the charges. But when he gets out of court, he is mad as hell at them, and he's going off, and she pretty much said that, and Annalise said that, look, if it wasn't for them, your ass would still be in jail. So instead of you being upset, you need to thank them. So then afterwards, we get another scene with Emmett and Tegan. They talk about, Gabriel's text or whatever, and, it's obvious that Emmett has a thing for Annalise, but so does Tegan. So pretty much he invited her out, for a drink, but she says, oh no, I can't, I got work to do, but I'll do a rain check on it. But we can definitely see that Emmett is on to something. Because later on, he gets a call from IT, and he finds out about Tegan's, conversation with the FBI agent. So then we actually see that Annalise meets up with Nate, Frank, and Bonnie, and they pretty much screened the calls and found out that, Miller had called, this woman named Maria Slove in Cleveland, and that's the same woman that told Annalise that she couldn't adopt Wes. So he also knew about her trying to adopt Wes, and and so therefore it was Miller who gave that information to Burkhead, and that's how she knew about it. And it got to the point where Annalise just flipped the fuck out. She was like, you know what? Just cut me. Just cut me and bleed me the hell out. Because I'm the only person that hasn't killed anybody, not just been cleaning up your mess, acting like the damn maid, and I don't even get appreciated for this shit. And it's like, it's true. Like, she's the only one that's never killed anybody. She's cleaning up everybody's mess, and they always give her hell for it. And it's crazy. Like, she the only one keeping you guys out of jail, but every time you turn around, you're just giving her grief. So then we see that Gabriel is actually at the house with the Keaton crew. So he was like, so what's better, watching me here or watching me at home? And Laura was like, you're quieter at home. Like, well, and then he was saying like, oh, so you guys were spying on me. He was like, well, hell, you were spying on us. You know, after all, you did call Miller 13 times. Um, and he was saying that, look, I didn't do this, to spy on you guys. I wanted to find out about my father, and I was willing to do anything to get to the bottom of it. So then we see Gabriel and Annalise, and she actually, in this scene, she actually confesses to Gabriel that she tried to adopt Wes when he was 11 years old, and the governor had that on her because she knew about it. And then she also tells him that she also had, Nate's father killed. So he was like, so you mean to tell me that I thought he was just your student, so you actually lied to me? She was like, first of all, I was shocked just like everyone else when I found out that Wes had killed Sam. But she says that, look, I got your charges dropped, so you owe me. Or you just gonna continue to be on some bullshit and let an innocent man go down and he doesn't get justice. So then we also see them, the crew is still going through all the pictures and stuff. Asher, and a picture of Asher with Connor's mom comes in, and then Connor just flips. It's like, oh great, something that I will never get out of my fucking memory. And then they show the picture with Bonnie with Christopher, and then Laura with her messy ass like, delete that one. So she's still mad at Bonnie. I'm like, Laura's a fucking idiot. So then what ends up happening, let's see. So yeah, Bonnie is still having conversations with Miller's mom. Then we see that Gabriel goes to the FBI, and they offer him immunity and all that, and protection and everything. So therefore he goes in there and he talks about Miller, and that Annalise had adopted Wes, and Miller disappeared, and that the governor obviously knew about this information, so he pretty much goes in there, but we come to find out he actually went in there and said exactly what they told him to say. So he ended up getting adopted by someone else, and he also talks about the governor too, and that she may have been behind the murder of Nate Sr. So then we see that the FBI agent is building this really big case. She has everybody on there. Lila, Rebecca, all the people that, that we knew from season 1, they're all on that board, and they're all pointing all these arrows, and a lot of them are pointing to Annalise. So she's literally got a whole map, like how Olivia Pope used to do at, on Scandal. She got the whole thing, a whole map of everybody and their connections. And then like her partner came in and said like, so do you think they're playing us? And she's like, I think they're all playing us. So her ass is going to become a problem because she is going to try to take all of them down. So then we see that Emmett meets up with Annalise. He talks about Tegan and IT had called him, that this email with between her and the FBI agent is out of the ordinary. So do you think Tegan is you think Tegan is doing some bad shit? And she pretty much says that, first of all, and Annalise like told him straight up, like, first of all, you need to trust Tegan because she knew about your misconduct the whole time and didn't even use it against you like I did. That was all me. She had nothing to do with that. So you can trust her because she had your back. So then he calls IT and wants to get, he wants to see the emails of Annalise. Then we get a scene where Gabriel and Michaela, he's still salty because he was mad that they were videotaping him, and pretty much she says that, look, I need to come in, so I can remove the camera. So she goes in and she removes the camera, and so she says, so you told your mother about me? He's like, yeah, you're awesome. Why wouldn't I talk about you? So we can definitely still see that there's still chemistry between Michaela and Gabriel. And she pretty much lets him know that I'm being completely honest with you. I never watched your footage of you being in your apartment. That was Frank and also Oliver. So then we see that Nate is talking with Bonnie. Bonnie saying that Miller's mother wants to do a vigil for him, and she's just frustrated because she still hasn't heard anything back from the FBI or anything. And pretty much, she tells Nate it's time, So here it is. We see that the FBI is building their case. We see that Annalise goes to meet up with Tegan, and she was saying that she kind of like lets him know that, look, Emmett's kind of onto you, so I'm letting you know, Tegan, to watch your back. And she was like, well, what about you? And she's like, what do you mean? And she points her to the computer. Miller's body's been found. So then we see that Miller's mom calls Bonnie and breaks down, and to the point where Bonnie couldn't even contain herself because she is still feeling guilt over the fact that that Miller's dead. But now it's out that Miller's dead and they found his body. And we see that the crew, the Keating crew, is watching it on television, and then Connor's mother posts a picture on Instagram with her and Asher. But yet, if you look in the back, there's a picture of Nate and Miller talking to each other. So there is proof that Miller was there and Nate was there. So this is going to be some shit. So now Nate is definitely going to become a main suspect now. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of How to Get Away with Murder. So until next time, everybody, take care.